evening. Welcome to the third day of Assembly 2022. This is the evening wrap-up. I'm Truck, and this evening I am joined by other people, thank goodness. We have a frequent, we have a Remina, and we have a deeper. I have a very special message to begin this. If you happen to have been sitting in front of me during the demo compo and there was something strange that happened, you could contact the Evoke organizers, or the one named Gargai, somehow, and he will keep the compo upload open so that you could upload a fix there. That was the special message for the person sitting in front of me. So, it's been a day.
Indeed.
I started my day by going to Booze Drum, which is an unofficial event with lots of gabber. It was awesome.
Yes. I wish I would have been there, but I had other duties today.
Yeah, it was difficult to get there, but it was absolutely worth it. Luckily, you can, if you are interested, you could go to boozedrum.bandcamp.com and you can listen to the entries that are there.
Yes.
After that, there was the tracked music compo. Now, I enjoyed it. I was on the jury for it, but did anybody else here see it? Or
Unfortunately not. Other duties, like I said.
yes, all right.
Did you see it?
Sorry, I was somewhere else, sadly. I should have seen it since I've been tracking so much music in the 90s, so I missed it, sorry.
Yeah, I'm so going to watch the VODs because yeah, I would have liked to see it. I heard there was something maybe special even in it.
Yes, you do need to watch the VODs.
Watch, indeed.
Yes, watch being the operative word here. There was one entry that does have some extra bits in it that if you watch the VODs, video on demand, the playback, for those of us that are old. Yeah, one of them. I'm not going to say which one, but I do know that the people behind it were very excited to show it, and it was enjoyable to watch both in the compo and in the jury. The other productions, there were, I liked all of them during the jury compo. I don't know if any were pre-selected because having come back in, I then had to do an official duty thing, and but I did make it back in time to see like the last 6 of them. So. Yeah. That was an excellent combo.
But I know that every song in the track music was qualified.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Good. So yeah, every single one of them was excellent track. We had some fast tracker stuff, some schism tracker stuff, and a lot of pro tracker stuff. I recommend that. And if you don't understand the difference between a tracked entry and the other types of music, well, frequent, maybe you should explain this.
Sorry?
What is the difference between a tracked entry and, say, a streamed entry?
Totally different approach of how to do the stuff, since when you're doing stream music, you can pretty much select any kind of synthesizer. You can take any kind of software and just write almost anything what you want. When it comes to tracking, there's so much more limitation of, if you go to Pro Tracker, for example, you're limited to only mono samples. You might not have a synthesizer, you have to work with static sound, and sometimes you also have very restrictions of how many sounds you can have at the same time. Like Pro Tracker has only 4 channels, which means only 4 sounds at the same time. Yes. And the more modern gives more, but still it's mono samples all the time, so it's harder in many ways. Yeah. But the advantage with tracking is that you don't have to mix so much. You can get around a lot of mixing complications that you will run into if you're into software synthesizers. So there are pros and cons both ways.
Yes, and even in our track music combo, there are some rules that limit the size, for example.
Yeah, there's no size problems if you're doing streaming, it's just a length. On tracking, you can run into memory barriers. Yes. Especially if you're doing tracking on old Amiga when you only have 1 or 2 megabytes of available memory for the music. On the PC you can get a bit more, but they have stayed to like 1 megabyte or perhaps 2 if you're into fast tracker. Yeah.
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 So that's what the difference is, and that's why it's in a different competition. It's a different, different technique, different. We'll just leave it with different technique. After that, we didn't go to the Shader Showdown yet. There was a compo that was in between.
There was widescreen compo.
Yes. There was also the demo show in between, and that's
Yes.
where my brain went. Yes, we had the widescreen compo, which was sort of new this year. We had a widescreen entry once before.
Yes.
And I remember I was next to Pehu while we were watching that, and he said to me, we need to have this as a compo, and I agreed with him. And
Yes.
then the rules were put forth, and then some sort of pandemic thing happened. So this is really the first time that we've been able to do the widescreen compo.
Yeah.
I have my own opinions. What did you think?
It was amazing, to see on the whole big screen. Actually, after seeing that, it felt a bit strange to see the other entries in more constrained space. We were it raised a constant expectation to see them all spread.
Yes.
I predict that this kind of the widescreen will be popular in the future.
Yes. It was so awesome.
Yeah.
And
many demos use the screen.
Yes.
Also well.
I noticed that there was some, to that effect, there were some that did experiment with moving the focus from the center.
yes.
Most did stick to the center quite a bit, but then there was some experimentation. Also, there was some stuff, experimentation as far as you didn't necessarily need to make a demo. The first
Yes.
two were static pictures, which was a good use of it because the other competitions do not take advantage of that.
Yeah. And I think, especially for photos, the widescreen make quite a difference in the composition that you can make. And that's really cool.
Yes. Yeah, the thing that the widescreen gives us is a different composition or a way of thinking about composing your thing. It's the same thing when we went from a more square format to the high definition format, but this is even wider. If we seem a little bit like we are having trouble hearing each other, it's because we are. There's a activity going on nearby that is very loud.
Yeah.
Are there any things that you want to highlight, perhaps, from the widescreen?
I kind of enjoyed the rather large text interface. I thought that was kind of funny idea. Have a widescreen and use it for a scroll text. Like, that's kind of trolling to the maximum.
Yeah, and it has had a very nice physics effect on a text console.
And also
well
that.
executed, yeah.
Yeah.
I also like to mention the entry after called Tribute to Old School, because it looked like an Amiga entry, but it was actually done on Atari.
Yes, it was. And it was also done with an 030. I was not an 060.
Yeah, no, there's no... Well, there are 060 on the Falcon, but it's rare, so it's easier to do with 030 to get hand one.
There were some discussion yesterday about exactly how they did it, because you cannot put those monitors on a Falcon.
No.
But you can render them out to
Yes.
a file,
Yes.
and that is what was done. So, yeah, you don't necessarily need to have a huge screen as long as you can render to that. As long as it's done, some people will say, well, that's not real time. Well, it is if you're rendering it on a limited machine. It's real time. It's real time enough.
Yes.
It was also an interesting combo because it combined pictures, videos, real-time stuff, this
Yeah.
widescreen combo.
Indeed.
There was no limitation in there that you had to make it real time either. So that
Yeah. But there was also quite a few real-time entries, which was really nice
Yes.
as well. And for example, I don't know how to say the name, Shelidonura, which was the kind of triangle forest
the Linux
volumetric thing. And that was kind of cool because it really utilized the screen.
Yes. Yeah, that one didn't really use the center of the screen at all. It used the entire screen to show everything as you would when you're walking through a forest.
I would like to mention the demo by Doomsday, because they continued the same place they stopped in 2003 with a spaceman, because they had a spaceman on the demo in 2003 called Legomania. So they were back where they started, just in not Lego mode.
Based on that text, I was actually expecting
So was
something more,
I.
but what came after that was beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
of course, notes
Yes.
that was used helped a
Yes.
lot, but I personally know we're also using notes now as a demo tool. It is possible to do beautiful things with that, but you also it's not like you just drop all the C and CD Fairlight stuff there and you automatically get beautiful stuff. You still have to know, and it helps also. Like I used it now as a coder to get into the shoes of a designer and artist and whatever, and it is a good achievement, this Doomsday demo. Also I know that it was as you mentioned actually earlier, it really well used the screen space.
Yes,
With this astronauts stuff.
It was the one that really, well, there was a portion of it where it only used the left side.
Yeah.
And then it continued onward. So yeah, a good use of space in that.
Yeah.
However, I will say that there's a lot of potential left. We just scratched the surface
Yes,
here.
exactly.
This year.
My opinion also. Like we will see a lot
And
more. Expect.
was an excellent start to what I would imagine will be a very much a popular. I can't think of a word here other than platform, but it's not really a platform, but a popular competition in the years coming.
New specification, maybe the right word.
I have, of course have to mention our entry, something in the
yes, you
grass
also had one.
from the
Yeah.
widescreen. And my idea, of course, there was first to start with this more traditional centered view,
Yes.
and then there was this excellent track from Humanoid, the music with this cuckoo, cuckoo, and then the lake view starts to open, and there was something coming.
Yes.
Yes.
Now,
And I really like series Stranger Things. There's a bit influence from that, and this one was made quite quickly. Our something in the grass, and based on like it was made quite quickly because main focus was on the other demo.
Yes.
But anyway, I am happy of the end result. It really like I wanted to see it on the big screen, and it worked.
I should mention that the way that you used to make demos was that you and the crew would show up at the party, and you would code the entire party, and you always did party coding. And only a couple of years ago did you change this. So now you did both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone want to highlight anything else from that competition, or should we move forward?
Yeah, I mean.
HPC Mayhem.
From that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Real-time demo.
Yeah,
from
first
Half
from
the
them.
Cheese.
From HPC, not animation. Real
Yes,
time.
absolutely.
Like a couple of other entries, and from the HPC, I really like this rendering.
Absolutely.
And their own engine that they use. Of course, I have a history of writing my own demo engines until today.
Yes. Yes.
Which, well, I also work at Notch, so I will be developing. Even I continue using Notch, I will be developing them.
Yeah.
It's a good combination.
it's not that it's not your engine, it's that it is your engine. It's just not normally attributed to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in the HPC, going back to that, I really like the particle splat, how they make the surfaces and look good looks. And it looked like a HPC animation.
It did.
Yeah.
And you could see, at least, I thought I saw multiple HBC members' styles in various things.
Indeed.
There were, I'm not going to mention names, but there were at least 3 people, I think, that did portions of it. And it was good to hear another DFAS tune. He's done some amazing work with HBC.
It's going to be a tough competition this widescreen.
Oh, it's going to be.
There is the Astral demo super wide reality, which really
Yes.
blew after the start. It's a beautiful scene.
It's,
Yeah.
It showed in the compo wrong because the file was, well, corrupted. But we showed it after the intros, and oh my god, it was so beautiful.
it really.
I instantly changed my vote after seeing it the second time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
It was just.
of course.
Well,
The first time was like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then, that was strange.
I'm actually a bit worried about the widescreen future of the widescreen competition now, because what if all the competitions become widescreen compatible in the future?
Well, I'm not so worried about
I wouldn't be that worried
I
either.
think that it is possible that we will see a large number of them,
Yeah.
but because we will have to pre-select, perhaps maybe next year we'll have to pre-select some, and then it won't be. There will be ebb and flow, just like other competitions. I'm very much looking forward to this next year.
How will you categorize 4K intro, which is actually a widescreen production?
Well, you can do 4K intro in widescreen competition,
Yeah.
but it would be still widescreen competition.
Yes.
No
And you
one
might-
says that you can't do a 4 kilobyte in 4K.
or a 1K, or technically, you could even do a tracked music entry with, I don't know, what's the maximum number of channels you can put into it?
32 or 64, depending on the tracker, maybe even more.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you could get 128 or 256, you could possibly do the full screen.
Yeah. Exactly. You can fill the whole screen and start it from there. It's theoretically possible. Yeah.
This is for you now.
We're excited about seeing more stuff in the coming years with this competition. Loved everything this year. Great competition. Thank you, Pehu. Perhaps we should move on to the next competition. And my brain says that it was the 1K.
Shader Showdown.
It was, well, competition. Yes, that is absolutely a competition. Would you like to talk about the Shader Showdown a little bit? Because you were in it.
Yes. First, I would like to congratulate Provot. It was an awesome shader from him and well-deserved win. I've never coded live for that size of an audience. It was nerve-wracking, but I had fun, and it was nice. It was nice.
I will say that we had a good, I didn't actually count for sure, but I did count the sections and the number of chairs, and it wasn't completely full, but it was very full, and there were people that were over on the side also standing rather than sitting in chairs. Big audience for it. It was the right thing to move it to the big screen.
Yes.
And beside, I would like to mention that this kind of competition perhaps made it into all the youngsters who never seen this before in the hall, because I saw there was some attention, like the thing actually going on in real time on the stage.
Yes.
It might give some ideas to the youngster to perhaps start learn the code. I think so.
I know for a fact that at least one of them related to one of the, a second generation scener, told his parent that he was interested in it, and he started looking at some tutorials already.
Very good.
That's cool.
This is
That's really
why we do this and show it to folks. We want more folks to have fun doing this, and it is fun. It is also work, but it is fun, and that's why we show it to you. And we, oh darn it! As I was going to sleep yesterday, I was thinking of how I would say this in Finnish, but now the lights are on, and I don't think I can pull that off because I'm too tired. Olen väsynyt. You were going to say something?
Yeah,
I'm going to go back to Riiminen.
1K, there are many entries to bring
Oh,
up.
no. We're gonna still talk about the Shader Showdown a bit, because
Wow, yeah. Not yet in the 1K.
no, we're not yet onto the 1K. We'll move to that very, very soon.
Yeah.
The Shader Showdown, I would again like to encourage folks to try this. Now, you have done this, and I did mention yesterday that you do stream this.
Yes.
And if someone has a question,
Yes, I will explain. If people on the chat wants to know something, I will answer them. And usually my workflow on the streams go that I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do? Suggest me something, and we'll figure it out how it works. And I also upload the VODs to YouTube, so you can watch it later. And I've been a bit lazy on that though, but I will get better. But
And-
also Provod streams.
yes, he does.
He's
I mentioned Provod. Evil used to. I don't know if he's doing as often anymore.
I don't know. Flopine does.
Lopine does. I mentioned her. Does Alkema stream very much anymore? I don't
Sometimes,
remember. Yeah.
but I don't know. No.
I did find earlier today the location of the website that is associated with DemoZoo, where you can
Livecode.demozoo.org.
exactly livecode.demozoo.org. Every Shader Showdown and every Byte Battle. I won't explain Byte Battle here, but all of these, the source code is available at livecode.demozoo.org, and you can take that and put it into Bonzomatic, or if it's a Byte Battle, you put it into TIC80, and then you can see how it is.
Yes.
And again, if they have a question, they could ask you or
Yes.
Flopine.
Yeah. And many of us put also a shader toy version of our shaders available, and those are linked to the livecode.demozoo.org as well.
And your Finnish is much better than mine, and if somebody has a question they're more comfortable asking in Finnish, they can just ask in Finnish as well.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes.
About the Shader Showdown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I
No,
will go after
you go ahead. No, I'm done.
Today I entered to watch the compos. I saw Riiminen and Provod competing,
Yes.
and I was looking, I was talking with Vode from Doomsday, and it's a Windows XP from the train background. This
Yes.
Yeah, but it was good end result. Both of you
Thank you.
did good, and there is also a nice story from yesterday about the Shader Showdown. I brought my wife first time to assembly,
Yes.
with my 1.5 years old son, and he was the son, and he and she, they were both so excited of this, to see the effects on the screen. Something similar they've seen at home also. But yeah, and my wife said, when seeing for the first time demo event assembly, that it's actually very cool to see how the thing evolves and what will happen in this.
Yes.
It's also I was going home yesterday from assembly, and there was some young guys coming to they were wondering, they probably didn't know who I am.
Yo.
Like, how do you do demos? Asking, and I was like, that's a difficult question. It's so many ways. And they were like saying that they come here to play, they see this Shader Showdown. It's so nice to have it, because it really shows you, like, you have this code, you write it, you start from the same simple base, and you go into amazing worlds from
Yeah.
that.
And Shader Showdown relies a lot also that there are commentators who explain a bit what we are doing. They kind of they just check what we are coding and explain it a bit. So, yeah.
I think we might need, in some cases, we might need to get some dictionaries for,
Yes.
well, people like me who say, when you say something like a normal map.
Or ray marching.
Yeah, well, ray marching, I understand now, but yes, not everyone will. But a normal map, well, what the heck is a normal? And if you have my level...
Is it normal to have a normal map?
I don't know. I just know that with my level of US-based public education, things like normals are not part of my vocabulary. So a data dictionary of this might be helpful. But again,
Yes.
if you're watching one of your streams, or if you're talking to Evil or whomever, they will explain this. And one of the great things about seeing code and trying to run it, if you're a person that, you know, you have to have your hands on the thing. But, seeing the code there, some of these complex mathematical things will become simpler. At least they do for me.
Also, I have been wanting to participate, and I am not signing by saying this to the next year Shader Showdowns yet, but it's like I've been wanting to participate into it for a long time.
Oh, you should.
But the thing
You should
has
do
been
it.
before that I have been always party coding
Yes.
the adapt demos so long that there is, first of all, there is no time. Second of all, there is just not. It's not possible to go there and have fun. And I'm not saying it's not fun to do party coding.
No,
I'm
no.
basically doing this already
It's
throughout the party.
the amount of things that we have had to do in order to make all of this happen has prevented us from participating in some things. Which again, mad props to Remina, because she, you were in charge, along with Amink, of the entire demo and intro and music.
Yes.
All the compos were under your umbrella, and
Yes.
you still managed to find time to do this. So yes, mad props.
I'm also
Thank
happy
you.
about the Shader Showdown that the GLSL and this kind of more simpler languages exist these days, because when I started to do shader coding on OpenGL in 2007, the only stable way to do those was to use the pixel shader, vertex shader assembler.
Yeah.
Doing that as a Shader Showdown would be a bit more challenging, at least to get something convincing on the screen. You have to check for the instructions and then try to get it done.
It
But,
was. Some of us tried to do it, and some of us failed miserably because we couldn't quite figure out what the heck was going on. And we've now, now with the explanations and so forth, and also, like you said, either HLSL or GLSL, and there's two variants. So you don't have to necessarily go with one. You could go with the one that you're familiar with when you're on stage. So you don't have to. When you've got practice, and that is something that you do need to do, if you go up on stage and you try to do this without having practice, you are going to run into some issues. But when you practice it a bit, you'll get into the groove of working with a particular type of shader language, and then you just go with that. The concepts are the same, but yeah, it's not as difficult to say speaking English versus speaking Finnish. It's more like speaking
Different dialects.
yeah. Like speaking English American versus speaking English Australian, or, well, Tampere dialect versus Helsinki dialect.
Plus,
Go.
the environment is telling you if you type something wrong, it highlights red, and you can.
It
can
doesn't
try to-
highlight it red.
Well-
When I compile the shader again, it kind of shows on the bottom of the screen the error messages.
But there's definitely no time to go very deep into the manuals.
No.
Yeah.
Of course, like we don't have anything like any manuals or materials with us.
You have to know the basic
because- yes,
all the
because
instructions by heart.
It's 25 minutes. No one has time to check some references in that time frame and still do the thing. So you really need to kind of know the things that you are doing or experiment with. Good luck.
Yeah. One final thing about this. It's platform independent. Bonzomatic compiles on, well, you don't have to compile it. You can download the executable for Windows, for OS X, or for Linux. All three of them are there. I believe it also runs now on FreeBSD. I'm not sure about OpenBSD yet, but all of these, basically any platform. We don't have Android yet, but I don't know that anybody would really want to try and type. Well, I suppose you could hook up an external keyboard. Let's move on to 1K.
Yes.
I'll continue the 30 years theme, that maybe in 30 years I can participate in the Shader Showdown.
No.
Maybe I will have enough skills.
You
Next
have
year.
enough skills that you'll be able to pull it off if you practice. And it's, again, you just set it down with, and go 25 minutes. You've already got knowledge of shaders.
Some knowledge.
Yes, so you'd be able to actually sit down and get something started much quicker than I would. That doesn't mean that I can slack off and not try it.
Point.
1K.
1K.
Yeah.
Now we are there.
Frequent, you've
Yeah, the
not been
first
speaking.
entry in 1K. I cannot really pronounce this right.
1K meripäivä.
Exactly. Sine wave, noise, and then you get C and C noise. Perfect.
Yes.
Very simple and very effective. And you save a lot of space and it becomes 1 kilobyte.
Yes.
And no albatrosses were hurt in the making.
Exactly.
Important point.
1K meripäivä is JavaScript production also.
Yeah.
And well, OO had two productions, I think, and the intros. Happy birthday assembly in
Yes.
1K.
Yes.
And you can definitely see his classic style there, and but he expanded it in the other intro
I
very
just
well.
need to ask, how on earth did OO get Crinkler in 1K?
Possibly by asking Blueberry. Or there's...
Because there is Crinkler here.
People use Crinkler. I have made a 1K
Well, it's
with
possible to use
Crinkler.
Crinkler.
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
it?
it is.
I mean,
Okay,
they
yeah.
ported it to both Amiga and Atari as well, so there should be some possibility to shrink things down.
Crinkler is
I
a
actually,
tool.
If he used
yeah, I actually, no, that was my bad. Crinkler is the packer, Klinkster is the synth.
Yes.
I kind of wrote Klinkster and I was like, what?
No.
But I don't know if OO still
Yes.
uses this
Sorry.
GNU Rocket by Kusma to
Yes.
parameterize. If he uses that to 1K, that's an achievement. Also.
Wasn't
but
that listed
that
on the
wasn't
tool?
listed on
Okay,
there,
it's the
but
other
it
one
was
that they
listed
did
on
that
4K.
was listed.
Yeah.
So yeah, problem.
It's,
I want to take a second here to explain. Crinkler and various other tools are tools that the demo scene has created that allow you to compress or change the data that you have created and pack it smaller so that you can get more into this very small area. It goes along the same thing with trackers and other tools that we've made for making music. Crinkler is it's essentially a linker, but there is also...
we should have some knowing guys here like Blueberry, who made the Crinkler.
Yeah.
They could tell a lot.
they,
It's a Crinkler is compressing a linker, replacing this linking.
Yeah.
He's given seminars on it before at other parties, so they're available on the internet. What was the name of the Crankster was the
Klinkster.
Klinkster, yes. There's also a tool by Abyss for making small sounds, which I don't remember at the moment. What is that one? Abyss?
Sinter?
Yes, Sinter. Yes.
Synth.
Yeah, I think some of the
But actually,
1Ks.
Klinkster is also by Blueberry. So
Yes.
Yeah.
And Blueberry is a scener who enjoys making tools. Not everybody enjoys making tools. Blueberry loves making both tools and enabling other people to make demos and making his own demos. He's also participated in Shader Showdowns. And he works on Amiga and PC.
Just to finish it off, Crinkler has its limitations, so you cannot just make one huge executable file, crunch it, and then expect it to be 4 kilobytes.
No.
There's an upper limit, so it will stop or simply fail after a maximum of a 64 kilobyte executable. It's made for 64Ks and smaller.
Back in over 10 years ago, when I still used to do the small intros also, I used Crinkler. And it was actually heavy work to do a proper production, even in 4K, not to talk about 1K. Back then, of course, Crinkler got better, but I assume it's still a heavy thing to add music, add a nice flow design into this production. And because I also still remember times from the 90s when 4K, to have it with beautiful visuals without music in absolute silence. That was the big achievement.
And now we have music in 1K.
And in every single one of the 1K.
If there is somebody thinks that there is something wrong if you don't have a...
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I also made one 1K in the past, and it had MIDI sounds.
Yeah.
And
I actually heard...
I couldn't identify. I did think a couple of these had MIDI.
Yeah.
And,
I actually heard one explanation that one person actually didn't submit 1K because they didn't have time to make sounds for it.
Yeah.
Or like get it tight enough. And that's sad, kind of, also.
It is hard work to squeeze the last bytes.
It's really hard.
I would also like to mention, for those of you who are using OS X or using Linux, these are not necessarily. There are tools that are Windows only, but there are tools that have been created that do this. And you may be familiar that the ELF format does make it more difficult to create a small executable. Various people in the Linux size coding community have actually gotten past this, so you can use these things. Additionally, the size coding community is very helpful and enjoys people coming in and asking questions and working on things. They also enjoy working with you to get your things smaller.
Yes, absolutely.
They'd be more than happy to talk to you if you get stuck, or as you are learning, or as you want to make a 1K or a 4K. And I remember Preacher of Traction once saying the 4K is the perfect way to get started because it gives you a natural limitation. I agree. What Preacher said is very important.
Yeah, and they shared for you. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Any other of the 1Ks that we want to highlight?
Vivid Pixels.
Yes, that was...
I thought it was 4K.
I was very happy just to see Digimind.
With this big screen, or this effect screen, it was really nice. I would also highlight the M22 from P01 and format.
Yeah,
like it's refreshing. I think it's not shader stuff.
No.
It's like a JavaScript primitives stuff and well-made design added there. And it was refreshing, and they also had the confidence to state that the 1K competition is over.
Yes.
And also I remember when we were party coding with a P01 next to each other in the old school area 2006. Hello. Still doing stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
Poi
and that
is
was also JavaScript and Train.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Poi is also another one of these people. If you go to his website, which is either po1.org or just check, it's po1.something, I think it's .org. He has written up almost all of his productions, how he did them, with the source code and explanations, going years back. So you can learn from all of his previous JavaScript things. But yeah, he's not doing shaders. He's actually doing pure JavaScript into either Canvas or into doing something interesting to get it onto the screen.
And that's refreshing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
I was doing 4K, but I wanted to do it in 1K, but it's so tight. I wanted to do particles.
Yes.
of course. But
Well,
maybe we'll see. Let's see.
He
how it
has
happens.
done a thing with particles, but I think we should now move to the
Yeah.
4Ks.
You can also party code 4K. Been there, done that.
Yes.
That's a bit easier.
Does
Quite a
anyone want to highlight any of the 4Ks that are not about me having a birthday?
Coma. I have to talk about the Coma 4K intro. That
Go
was
ahead.
my
Yes.
killer. I really, really liked that one.
Yeah, that was
it
the-
really got me.
Alice in the Wonderland.
Yeah.
Look for
Yes.
Alice. Yeah.
Looking
Yeah,
for Alice.
looking
yeah.
for Alice. That was.
I think
that
it
was
had some
a
chromatic
thing.
aberration.
Ah,
the
yes,
cat.
it did.
It was haunting. Like I was just sitting next to Vode watching this from Doomsday. We were talking that after 3 weeks of party coding, this would not be nice to watch, but it was stylish.
Yeah, that's,
It was good, well put together. Yeah.
yeah, perhaps not the best thing to look at when you're stressed.
How do you run from what is inside your head?
Yes, I loved it as well. I'm looking about it. One of the things that I really liked about it was the fact that it was purring for a lot of the period of time. Just purring. And then, yes, and now it's angry. It's a cat. It is.
Yes, cats are unpredictable.
Any others?
Yeah, there's one. The last one by OO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
A
one that
bit strange music, but it calculated itself to the final, and then it got better, and then effect was forming from some chaos into those Mandelbrot bulb.
Yeah, and it was like very OO style sync thing, like discussed before. He used Rocket by Kusma.
Yeah, that was
and
the one that
others
used Rocket.
to actually sync the audio and the effects, and that's a tool that we usually use in demos, but some people have got it integrated in 4Ks.
Keyframing is important to have to make a direction, but it was solid production from all.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and it was well balanced now. Like
And well rendered. It's one of those that, well, you could create something like that with your stuff in a Shader Showdown, but then, yeah, the way that it was using both chaos and design.
Yes.
You know, DFox, yes, I like all the demos and all the intros,
Yeah.
but I really liked it.
Yeah, I
the
kind
Bamma,
of I did laugh a bit at the beginning because it looked so much the thing that I did on the Shader Showdown. Bit different sync though, but like I was like, oh, right. But it evolved, of course, completely different.
And it was using a different technique as well later on. Yes.
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 I would bring up the Vamma Hess Daylan Valley. It was had a very old school look. This voxel kind of looking landscape. I still don't know if it was Raymarched also, but it had nice touch in the style.
Yes.
Coherent.
Some volumetric lighting stuff. Maybe.
I'm horribly sorry. I did not hear anything that either of you really said because of this
Okay.
thing in the background.
I think you were talking about Hess Daylan Valley. weren't
Yeah,
you?
quite an old
Yes.
school style
Yes.
with this voxel
and
landscape.
kind of volumetric light stuff
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yes, that was. It reminded me like really old school, like 1992, which kind of fits the theme.
Is it so that we did? There was no path traced 4K. Am I wrong?
I wouldn't say.
No path tracing. Yksi.
I think Thirsty First was.
Ytsin humppatehdas made this Vekkula disco and there
Yeah.
was path tracing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, path tracing.
Path tracing is the word
Yeah.
these
Yes.
days.
Yeah, because ray marching there definitely was, but path tracing.
Can you explain what is the difference between path tracing and ray
marching.
tracing and ray marching?
Okay. Well, ray marching is something where you kind of have this sign distance field function and you take steps. You form a ray and then you kind of take steps along the ray and you measure the distance to the surface that you hit by that. And you just take fixed amount of like there is a maximum amount of steps that you take before you hit the surface.
Yeah,
Then you
because
do
then you-
binary search to refine to the surface and stuff
Yeah.
like
if you would go infinitely, then you would eventually run out of. It wouldn't render in real time
Yes.
because
It would
there you
have
go.
like infinite amount of stuff. So that's just short explanation. Then path tracing, in other hand, is not a method to actually form geometry. Like in ray marching, we are looking for the surface of the geometry. So it's a modeling of geometry. We don't shade it there. There is nothing to do with shading. But when we do like things like path tracing, that's a volumetric lighting method where we actually
it basically brings in the global illumination aspect
Yes.
where the light is bouncing and
you can actually do the geometry in many other ways. You can do like implicit surfaces, like just I'm losing words. Sorry.
But yeah, in ray,
Like-
ray
yeah.
tracing, which is like the very basic technique, you are basically making ray primitive intersections, like in
analytic.
opposed to the ray marching, you are basically just marching through the ray until you hit something. But with ray tracing, you just calculate a
Ray tracing
mathematical function.
is umbrella term.
Yeah, and-
Basically, just it covers everything kind of thing. But yeah, path tracing is the
Extension to it. It could be used with both, but if you do path tracing with ray marching, there is not yet a GPU that.
I have done
can
that.
handle-
I have done that in multiple
But
intros.
there is.
Sorry, it's possible. I've done that.
Okay, I'm too. I have not been keeping myself up to date of the intro. Too many demos.
All right, let's move to the demo competition.
Yes.
I believe that is I don't believe we skipped any.
No.
Okay, good.
First,
Real
graphics.
wide.
Okay, yes,
Okay.
you're right. Thank you. The fast graphics competition. Did anyone get a chance to see it? I was again
Sorry.
doing.
I didn't see it.
Would you like to talk about the fast graphics competition? No, they do not want to talk about it. But okay. Fast graphics. I did manage to catch a couple of the pictures as I was running by, doing organizer things.
Fast Graphics had a team vote,
Yes.
self-voting vote, like or not self, vote for me, make the vote.
That's
Vote
right.
for me, yes.
Vote for me was the theme.
Yeah.
And we could comment on them real time while looking at them, but I don't think that would be fair. Do you want to explain the concept of fast graphics, or shall I?
I can.
Okay,
So
you go ahead.
basically, people are given a theme that they should do the graphics in a 2-hour time span. So we release the theme and then we start kind of counting. And the deadline is 2 hours after we release the theme. So the picture should have the theme somehow conveyed.
How fast you have to be in the? How much time there was? The
2 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah,
When are we going to have fast Shader Showdown?
we do. That's 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but
that with the
fast
team.
graphics with a DJ in the middle and 25 minutes
Oh,
of drawing. That would
combine.
be a
I
big
don't know
Get
of
wild
any.
and
I don't know of
combine.
any
Yeah.
Norwegian parties that have ever done that.
It has happened, and I was
It
there.
has.
I was too.
Yeah, excellent party by the way.
It is it when you. I'm stumbling over words. It is possible to have a Shader Showdown type thing where you actually have artists on the stage competing. The only disadvantage to this, or to the Shader Showdown, is that it does take a particular sort of person to be able to stand in front of an audience, and it isn't necessarily there. So we absolutely don't want to replace the compos with these things. We want to have it available for both. But
Yeah.
yes, a drawing competition like that is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I apologize for our being swamped with things to do and not being able to actually look at all the competitions
Yeah.
real time. I am going to go back and look at the pictures, and believe me, when we looked at the 30-year things and we
Yes.
reviewed everything, we did look at the fast graphics as well,
Yeah.
which is why one of the fast graphics, I think only one of the fast graphics things was actually in the nominees. But we absolutely do look at these things
Yeah.
afterwards, just because we didn't have time.
And the thing that even though like I haven't had time to check them yet, it doesn't mean that I wouldn't look them afterwards.
No, that's what I'm
But
saying.
the thing is, we have so much to do, and now we just happen to have a poor gathering where no one saw it. I was touring some other compos, so yeah, and stuff
And
like
I
that.
know that there were people here in the audience that were watching it, so I do know that there was an audience for it. All right, let's talk about the demos.
Yeah,
Did
the
we
other
talk about
combos,
the
by
real
the way.
wild?
By the way, the other combos that
Yes, we talked about that yesterday.
Yes,
the-
okay, yeah.
the other combos
Yeah.
that I was touring was actually Tupline and the Cables Workshop combo, which also were here today, and those were awesome. But let's still move on to demos because unfortunately our time is limited.
Yes, it is.
But this concept to have this cables workshop,
It was nice.
It
It was really nice to actually have this kind of workshop thing here.
yeah.
Yes.
Demos, frequent.
Yeah,
Anyone to highlight?
several actually.
All right.
But where to start? I mean, there was a demo by the Finnish group Humane. They made a demo called Happio.
Yes.
I remember the first Humane 40 kilobyte intro at Assembly 94. And then 25 years of silence, and then the guy comes back on PC and do very abstract demos. And I would say that this time it was clearly better than the 2 previous years. I really liked it this time. Very strange graphics and inspiring. That's my opinion.
Yes.
We were having a conversation, the folks around myself. I believe this is one of the ones where at one point there was a part where he could have synced something and he didn't. And we were having quite a discussion about that. I don't know whether that was intentional or whether it was unintentional, but it was an interesting choice. You said you several that you wanted to highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last one.
The last one.
Yeah, by Adapt. It's hard to get without talking about it.
Unfortunately,
Shine flow.
I don't know anybody from Adapt that we could ask for details on that at all.
Yes.
No, me neither.
So,
I don't know where to go.
I think we'll have to just skip over that one. Rimina, any that you would like to highlight?
I would also like to highlight the E131 by Ivory.
Yeah, almost the second last one. Yeah.
Yes. And then there was this one thing
What
that
did you want to highlight about it?
Oh, what I want to highlight about it. Direction.
It was one scene, one
was-
object, one object on the outside, and one
It
concept.
was short, but it was kind of very tight.
I thought that the music made it. That
Yeah.
was the whole thing. Is that
Yes.
you could have done it in 4K, but that music we couldn't
Yeah.
do in 4K. It was really well done, and the music
And-
made
Yeah.
that demo.
Yeah.
I mean, it
And
would have been good in 4K, but expanding it with that music made it better.
Yes. And of course there was the Streams of Neon by MFX and DCS, which also got like uploaded before it ended actually. Like 2 uploads for one demo.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Synthwave. That's what
I saw
think
some
when I
motion
heard it.
capture in couple of demos this year.
I thought the MFX bit.
I'm still wondering the MFX demo. Is it actually there is this woman? We were actually expecting to play the keyboard.
No, because
But is this woman actually Uncle X?
no,
Making the
no.
moves?
No,
Let's not go there.
To
Sorry.
me, it was the people from the Living in Stereo video from like 1982.
Yeah, it was
There-
definitely
except
like
synthwave.
retro.
Yeah,
Yes,
as I
it
mentioned.
was very early 1980s MTV,
Yeah.
except also very X-Mix, but
Yeah.
not exactly X-Mix. So it was
Yeah.
it was throwback, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't like personally this small blur, but of course around everything. But it's the style.
Yeah.
So,
And-
but I like the moment when the dance starts.
Yeah.
It was maybe a bit too long.
Yeah.
They also liked it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was maybe a bit too long, but I mean, what can you do? I know it as a demo maker. If you get a long song, you have to
Pull it
you have to
out.
make it happen.
Yes.
But it was nice moment in the end when the demo ended, and then there was still
Yeah. Yeah.
greetings coming. And of course, when there was greetings for Adapt, I was saying that okay,
There
this is an okay demo.
was this one thing still that I don't really enjoy is this kind of male gaze aspect of it, but it was a good demo still. It was still a good demo.
I would also highlight the laugh pains.
Well, one more thing.
Okay.
Yes.
There was the conversation of what country's flag it was. Unfortunately, and I know that was something that you. That Uncle X you were asking about, and well, it did come up, but I did explain which country's flag it really was, which was Italy. So that was a reference to Italo disco.
Yes.
So
Yes.
anyway, yes, you want to highlight something, perhaps something by Adapt.
Not yet.
Okay,
Love
not yet.
Pains. Love Pains. I like the. I think it's some new. Well, I have seen the Maker X Kickel. Yes, sounds familiar, but it's like a very nice and different than usually demos. And I was sitting next to Vode from Doomsday, watching this, and he said that there was a moment when Doomsday used to do this kind of demos also.
Yeah, vivid experiment.
But I really like this
96.
moment that love is pain, pain is love. There was like a
Yes.
nice
Yes, that was
thinking
really
in the.
really nice. Then we have one thing that actually why we started a bit late.
Yes, we can mention that.
Yes, we are going to
Although
mention
we
that.
do remember that there is the possibility that that might be being shown at Evoke, so don't maybe highlight it too much.
Okay, there was one demo that didn't show as it should have been shown. It wasn't capture, that it doesn't show right on the combo machine. So they have no possibility to upload it to Evoke, which also is happening now and having demo combo now. So I do hope that they get it fixed and they get the correct version playing there so they can actually have the correct version there.
And that was the message that I gave out at the very beginning.
Was
Yes.
it the demo that had this stall in the?
Let's not.
It's one of the demos.
It's one of the demos.
Okay, 4 billion Ohorauhra was also like free refreshing stuff. Okay.
Oh, yes.
I can say a couple of words of the last demo. What was the crew?
I would like to say something about the very beginning, because again there was sort of a pacing of the demo compo that there were things at the very beginning that some people will just overlook because well they weren't the biggest, they weren't ASD and they weren't Fairlight, and so why would we even look at them?
You should look at them.
Absolutely, and you know the first productions, we had a couple of those, or we had people that were doing their second or third production.
Yes.
And seeing the progression with them and seeing people actually do a first demo makes me happy. I know it makes you happy.
Indeed.
I mean, I think all of us here on the panel and also many others in the scene, we really enjoy seeing people take that first step and then continue onward. It's thank you.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead. You had some things you wanted to highlight.
There are a couple of demos I still want to say something about. So
Yes.
this Ivory demo, it was a nice, solid, not going too much everywhere like some demos sometimes do, and it's like a clear colors, path tracing also in this demo. The only thing I was maybe wanting a bit more length. I was like waiting.
I think it was about the right length.
Yeah, well, we can go.
But then again, I'm still saying that in that demo that the song drove it.
I mean, there was potential to grow the. So,
Well, you could, but that would make it a very different production. I think that.
yeah, On the other hand, I was saying about MFX that it was a bit
Yeah.
long, so I have to find the balance.
Is another thing. As a demo maker, you think of ways that you would improve everybody else's demos, and then you go back and you look at your own, and you're your own worst critic.
Stranger had nice flow. Nice,
Yes.
nice,
Yes.
like a different style as well. And well, then there was the last demo. What was?
Some group adapt or something like that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was made with some tool called.
Got?
No, I was thinking it was not Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hello. Fellows at Knots. Yeah.
Deeper did work on that demo, so he can speak to it a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah,
you
so
like
I
to?
basically have been working on my own demo tools since forever and making 5 more, even more demo engines. And this year I made a change in my life. I joined Knots to work there. So first I was thinking, okay, yes, of course I'm going to continue my own. But in the end I got taken. I have to learn properly to use this tool. And yeah, it was fun to do a demo. And what you see here is a coder demo, where I was not coding at all. I took the notes from the stock and start to put stuff together, make it good. So that's I think Notes is somehow similar to cables.gl, that you can do stuff quite flexibly there.
Yeah.
It's a demo tool.
And for example, the MFX demo used cables for.
Yeah. Similar, yeah. About this, again, our demo from Adapt, we got an excellent track from Human. And there was a bit of pain to produce it, like, to make it, but then it started to kick, like it kicked in the end. And I was also able to make some hair simulation in Knots, which was a challenge. It's not on the shelf to just put hair here.
I don't believe we've seen actual hair in any of the other Notch demos. I haven't seen all of them. Maybe some of the ones from NTSC, maybe. But again, it's just because you have a demo tool does not mean that you're not actually coding something or adding some effect of your own. You're not just pushing the make demo button and demo comes out.
Also about this adapt demo, usually it's dangerous to start put skene poetry into the into the demo, but I think in this demo it worked quite well. Put into a couple of places in a nice way, and also it was very shiny and flowing. There was lots of shiny stuff flowing around, and also
I will say that when I first saw the title, I was thinking that a Swiss demo group actually had done it, because that's the name of their the name of their company that they work for when they're producing games. And that is something that does happen a lot, is that a lot of folks that are making demos also are working in the games industry. Some of the games that you folks are playing are actually made by demo sceners.
Yes.
And also,
one thing that I need to say now is that we have limited time.
We do.
And
We absolutely have
just
limited
a
time.
reminder of that.
Yes.
there are some Easter eggs in this demo also.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah. And
Hold on. I'm going to have to cut you off, because if you and I continue, we're going to be all night.
And we can't.
Yes,
Sorry.
and we can't. So, Easter egg.
Because there is some other program starting, which is Late Night Snack 10 years anniversary show on the main screen.
And you do want to see that. Thoron would be very, very upset, and he would just come down here and yank all of our microphones.
Yeah.
So, Easter eggs in demos are hidden parts that when you watch the demo at home, you can actually try to find the hidden parts inside of the demos. So that's another reason to watch these at home. With that, I think we actually should sum up. We have had a great time watching the productions, setting things up to have the productions, working on demo shows for you, doing the 30-year anniversary bits. It's been an absolute pleasure putting this on. I want to give personal thanks to everyone at Assembly, in the organization, and for allowing us to once again put this on for everyone. I'd like to thank everyone who has watched and everyone who has come down and enjoyed and cheered on the contestants in the Shader Showdown, as well as all of the productions, the folks who have come here to the Scene Lounge area and the creative area and participated in all of the seminars. Everyone who had, I hope everyone has had fun. And I remembered last night how to say this in Finnish, but I cannot say it now. So I think we will just simply say, hyvää yötä.
Hyvää yötä.
Ha det bra.
Hyvää yötä.